TexAgs Rewind, David Nuno, Billy Liucci. I guess we talked about Anias yesterday. Today we're looking ahead, and we spent a lot of time on kind of looking at the offense as a whole and what it could look like next year.
I mean, return essentially 10 of 11 starters from what you had out there the second half of the season. Well, you didn't have Anias, but you bring back 10 of 11 starters on offense, counting him. You also defensively bring back 9 of 11. So, I mean, 19 out of 22 is pretty ridiculous amount of talent to return. And running back is one of those positions where I said I'd be most excited and most intrigued and interested in watching this spring because there's a ton of talent. There's not a lot of returning production. There's a new face and a 5-star running back from the high school ranks in Ruben Owens who got here early. So, man, that offense with a nice back should be absolutely loaded, particularly with the versatility that the wide receiver / running back brings to the table.
All right, so we talked about that. We talked about Aggie basketball taking on Georgia and the rest of the way as well. And all that and much, much more. It is TexAgs Rewind.
I thought that that's the smart move for Anias.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, it all comes down to what Anias thinks. And I think he made a really intelligent, well thought out decision. You can come back, enhance your draft status. I don't think you want to go into especially as a receiver, where there's some people might have some questions about your speed. I've never seen anybody catch him from behind. I've seen him return punts 90 yards and nobody could catch him. But just, his size isn't the biggest guy, right? And all those things that NFL teams will look as reasons to not draft you, to begin with, right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to put, the fact that you got hurt and missed, 2/3 of your season on top of that, right? So to come back, as as everybody I'm sure knows by now, every time you fall a round in the draft, the difference in the money you're going to make or making the team even declines significantly, right?
So let's do this. Let's do some math on the air real quick. I don't even know if it's math. Let's just do some thinking. I don't know if you know who Mark Berman is. He is a reporter out of Houston, really good at his job. He works at Fox 26. He tweeted yesterday that he had spoken to Anias' mom, and apparently he's got 2 years of eligibility
left. He does,
left.
because he only played 4 games last year. It would have been a redshirt.
So using a medical, not saying that he's going to come back for 2 years, right? Because obviously, if
celebrate that you're getting one more.
But it's there.
It's there. He does have 2 years.
Yeah.
We've spoken about that before. But so now he has a chance to come back and enhance his draft stock. Maybe he can get up into the second round, maybe the first, maybe the third, whatever. But much better draft position. He has a chance to really improve that, showing I'm healthy. Look what I've done. And he can make probably 6 figures while doing so.
Yeah, I don't know NIL numbers. I just know that a player like Anias Smith
is valuable.
Would be on the high side.
I would think so. So, hey, make some good money. Get yourself in a position to make even better money. It just makes sense. And I would imagine, Anias has an older brother that played in the NFL. I don't know if he's still in the NFL or not, but I would imagine he like when we had Otero Locke on. And he said, if I could talk to these guys, this is what I tell them. And he said he'd advise guys to stay in school.
Yep. And
I wonder if his brother didn't have some input that Anias listened to. He had more to. Anias, I bet, had, first of all, he's a real smart guy. But secondly, I bet you he had more people, rational people, talking to him than just an agent that's trying to say, okay, how much, can I get out of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, the travel thing's a big deal. That happened one of my years. We had to fly into, we were going to Missouri. I think it was my senior year, actually, and we had to fly into St. Louis. And it's just so annoying because you usually practice the day of, then get on the plane, you're just ready to go to bed. And I just remember stopping at, Waffle House in the middle of nowhere, Missouri, and Buzz being like, all right, everybody out. We're going to get a picture. Y'all always remember this. And everybody go order Waffle House. It was really cool. I always remember it, right? But that's like a really hard thing to do. And theirs was worse because I think they flew into Wichita, and so there's a little bit of grace, I think. Also, watching the game though, I mean, I'm super competitive, Nuno, and there was a side of me that was like, I just want us to be absolute killers in this scenario. And how cool would it be? What message would it send if we could, after all that, just walk into their place and take a win, you know? And it was on the table multiple times throughout that game, and I just felt like we were a better team. And that may be maroon tinted glasses I'm wearing, but we had a confidence about us, and I just felt like we were a better team. I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed, but I guess I was being a little greedy in that regard. Overall, the way I view it is there's a lot of opportunity coming up. We got 6 quad 1 games remaining out of the 9 SEC games. So 2/3 of the remaining games are quad 1, according to the current net rankings. And so you want to punch your ticket, go win some games. And so I think I'm probably pretty even keeled right now. I think they had a good start to conference. I think they had to have a good start to conference. I don't think there was any other choice. And so you need to get Georgia, and then, you know, the Auburn, LSU, Arkansas stretch. You got to be 3-1 at least, in my opinion, in this stretch. So you got the one game that was not a throwaway, but the one game you get grace on. And then now it's time to get back to your winning ways.
Mark, help us understand why travel can take a lot out of 18 to 22-year-old men who are in peak physical condition, yet there is something about being on a plane, being on a bus, going to a new town, potentially time zones change, you know, not too often in the SEC, but those kind of things that do happen.
Right.
Why does it take a toll on you when you get to the game? The rims are different, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't always about like the sleep. Like everybody's going to get sleep and have naps and get treatment. It's more just about changing venue, right? And getting your sight lines dialed in on the rim and, you know, knowing where the locker room is, or it's really, you're moving a whole operation on the road. It's not like you're just going, staying in a hotel room and then going to the arena. Like the training staff is going to go set up an entire mini training room, right? And then, you know, you're going to go, you're going to have different meals. It just breaks up the routine you have at home.
What does spring ball look like now? We know that Anias is back in the fold. We know Damani's in the fold. We know the freshmen are on a lot of them are on campus. So let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I think, well, first you start off with which positions are they going to be paper thin at? Paper mache thin. That's nice. Who did that?
That is our good friend Nick Savage.
I mean, it looks okay.
That's nice.
It's all. I mean, I wish maybe I don't know.
You can't read the text.
No. I can read projected lineup offense. I could read the names. That's it. So, what positions are they good at? What positions are they woefully thin at? I still think linebacker, they're paper thin going into spring.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very thin at corner entering spring. Those are two positions, again, that I felt like they needed a transfer portal guy. I still think they do at each. But, look, I'm really interested in the offensive line, even though Bryce won't be out there yet, coming off that ACL. But I want to see how much progress guys like Zune and Dewberry and Layden, but also I want to hear about guys like, you know, where is Wyckoff heading? Because Bryce should step back in and be your starting center, but if Wyckoff if he keeps getting better and better, and do you go, man, can we fit him into place at guard? Mark Naboo, I'm particularly excited about. With, you know, he got the start against, I believe it was Florida, but I'm excited where that dude to me is like a force his way on the field if someone gets hurt or slips up type of guy. He's one of those. So, O-line, running back, you've got Ruben Owens here. So you've got your three guys in Moss, Amari, and Owens. That's probably, honestly, Nuno, I would say of all positions, that would be the one I'm most interested in following how that goes this spring. Would be at running back. Defensively, where I'm particularly interested, well, first of all, up front, I want to see Gabe Brownlow-Dindy once he's a full go. That's a guy I don't feel like we talk about enough because he was hurt this year.
Right.
I want to see him as a full go on that D-line and see what we start hearing about him as practices start up. But where I'm most interested on defense is in the secondary and how things shake out, because you've got Damani back. You've got Jordan Gilbert, Jacoby Matthews, Bryce Anderson, Jared Kerr. It's a lot at safety. But remember, it's safety nickel. So there's your two deep right there, okay? It's safety nickel. But what about corner and who mans the nickel? I could see Bryce being an impact dude in Antonio Johnson's role.
Mm-hmm. You know what they got to do? And
Yeah.
these are some very winnable games, but it does start tomorrow against Georgia, a team that statistically is similar to you, but they are not as good as you. Let's go ahead and be honest.
Georgia's better than recent Georgia teams, though.
Mm-hmm.
And they are like Vandy in that they are capable. When they're playing well and they're on, they can beat you, and especially if you're not on your A game. So A&M's coming off of a loss, which I actually like that aspect of it for Buzz and this team. I heard you guys talking earlier. When they lost their last conference game, they came back and played their best game of the year on the road at Auburn. But this Georgia team beat Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when they're good, they're actually pretty good. There have been recent years, most of the recent years, you're not able to say that about Georgia. This year you can. And it's like Vandy. Vandy sucks, right? I mean, Alabama beat them by 50 the other day. No, when Vandy's shooting and on, you don't want to see them. You know, Vandy at their best, but their swings are like this because they're not a tournament contending basketball team. Okay, and neither is Georgia. But when Georgia's playing good basketball, that's a tough team to close out and beat. And they will upset some teams in the SEC this year. They've already done it with Auburn. It won't be a ton, but they're going to get a couple, 3 teams ahead of them in the standings. You don't want it to be you. And it is a very important game for A&M, and they're going to get bigger and bigger as we go. And you look at that schedule. You look at that schedule right now, and you see Georgia and Auburn at home, at LSU, and Arkansas at home.
It's a tough stretch.
Of those 4 games, when you look ahead and then you see Missouri on the road, who's playing as well as just about anybody in the league right now.
All right, we're going to close out quickly, Billy. What do we do?
I don't know, David.
Like,
subscribe, comment,
tell
your friends about it,
and
spread the word, watch.
And become
Watch
a premium
it. Enjoy
subscriber.
it.
Get the info. Like when Anais, the news broke, we had it immediately, right? Ready. We got an alert. So do that.
Get your alerts. Yeah, the alerts are good.
Right.
I had dinner with some people last night that were, one of them didn't even know we had the app. He's a good friend of mine, was wondering about the alert, and everybody else at dinner was making fun of him, shaming him. Don't get app shamed. Get the app. Download that too.
Bye.